Hey, this is Christopher McClure, and welcome to the Shift Show. Uh, Today's topic, It's Hard Being Human, came up this morning. I got in kind of a tangle with my wife, and her, her concluding statement was, It's hard being human. And I said something like, yeah, maybe we should like form a club, you know, the It's Hard Being Human Club, and which you are invited to, by the way. And so I thought I would, kind of do a little investigation of why it's hard being human. I think it's when you know what you're dealing with, it's often easier to deal with. So to actually know why it's hard being human, I think we might be able to be more skillful and have more compassion for ourselves and others. So I am going to share my screen and share a what I call an ancient Enneagram solution. Um, and for anybody unfamiliar, the Enneagram is a 9 point geometrical figure that comes from ancient Egypt, and they say that any complete system of knowledge can fit within the Enneagram, and the Enneagram helps to organize it so you can see the main points and the relationship of the points to each other. So, let's start with the word human. Human is a composite word. It's a hu is Egyptian. It means divine, and man, of course, is man, the mammal. So we are a combination of of divinity and an animal. Divine and animal. Um, so there we are essentially a paradox. You know, um, right off the bat, it's like, well, there's a lot of reason right there. Since we're a paradox, it would make sense that it would be difficult because that's the nature of paradoxes. Um, this paradox, just to kind of like flesh it out a bit, is that we are a combination of spirit and matter, and not only are we like all life is a combination of spirit and matter, but we, um, human beings, Homo sapiens, soon to be Homo lucidius, um, we have the ability to be conscious of this paradox or of this combination of spirit and matter. Of we have the ability to be individual, to be in our bodies, and also to identify, to have our consciousness um, reach to all of the universe. Um, and another way of looking at it is that there's two basic processes going on in existence. There's involution, which is spirit coming into matter, and then there's evolution, which is matter going back to spirit. And these two processes are going on simultaneously um, in all in all matter, but we have the opportunity of being conscious of that. All right. So number two, the other reason that I'm not sure I spelled assertion correctly, but there it is. Um, the other reason that another reason that it's difficult being human is because we all have, even if you're a woman, you have masculinity within you, and if you're a man, you have femininity within you. We're balancing this these two sides of the same coin. Um, asserting yourself and surrendering. Um, it's Yeah. I mean, I've grappled with this all this life and probably many past lifetimes. Um, right now, just personally, right now, I am sort of there's a that assertive piece has always in this life has always been kind of covered over or buried, and for me to become whole, for me to become healthy, for in the large expansive sense, for me to be all of who I am, I need to um, be confident in asserting myself, because we all, everything that we envision, that we dream of, it's we are human beings are um, made in the likeness of the creator, God, source, the universe, which means that whatever comes into our mind, and the desires we have, they manifest. We are manifestors. It happens even if we don't know it's happening, or even if we don't want it to be happening, it's happening. Um, and of course, there's choice in that, and that's where the assertion comes in. So I think enough said on masculine and feminine. The other another aspect of why it's hard to be human is that we have this kind of dual nature of you've heard it said, we're not human doings, we're human beings. um, that we have this ability to assert ourselves and do things, and then this is just going back to masculine and feminine assertion, surrender. We It's very important. It's the hue part of, however you want to look at this. It's definitely a part of our being, our beingness, or our wholeness. It's definitely a part of our wholeness to be, and to just it, allow ourselves to just be in the process, right? We definitely, most people identify strongly with producing, with product, with the tangible material things, right? We're going back to spirit and matter, but the process of what we're experiencing while we're doing those things, or while we're just not doing anything, is very important. In, and it's hard. My wife and I have to schedule, we call it a balcony day, because um, we have a balcony in the front of our house, and the a balcony day is a day. It's like usually an afternoon where we just sit on the balcony and we don't do anything else. We can listen to music and maybe write, but we're just hanging out, and we actually have to schedule that because we're so oriented towards doing. Okay, so moving on, another aspect of why it's so hard being human is that we're kind of, to be fully human, to be fully individuated, in a psychological sense, we have to become sovereign. We have to, um, the authority is totally within us, right? So, when you take that, you know, far enough, you can turn into an asshole, so to speak. Um, so what's the balance, there? Well, it's to become tolerant of other people's sovereignty. So how can I be sovereign unto myself and also tolerance of other people's sovereignty? That's a it's a paradox. That's a tough nut to crack. Um, but it's possible, and I can attest that it's possible. I am, you know, um, in a sense, my marriage. Um, I love my marriage, and I feel like it's, my path to um, my own completeness. Um, but it's a pressure cooker. It's to be fully who I am, and to be tolerant of my wife's, um, Sarah's, sovereignty, and to embrace the collaboration of of us. This did not come easily. This has been a hard lesson for me, and a very valuable lesson, and a lesson that I can apply to my life, um, ubiquitously into the future and back into the past. Um, Number 5, trickless. Some of you may know what this means. It's an Irish or Gaelic word, which three. You've seen a trickless before. It's like those three. It's like three spirals that are connected. So what that trickless mean? That symbol means a lot of things to different people. To me, what it means is um, body, emotions, and awareness. And so, those are the three major centers in our system. And they are. You can see them as distinct. They are distinct, because they have definitely have qualities that are, um, one without the other is definitely missing something. The physical and the emotional and awareness. So to be able to be with those three centers and kind of juggle those experiences, that is a lot. That is really, you know, that pushes their limits. Okay, number 6, and this is something that really both number 4 and number 6 are really things that are coming out in the during the pandemic. But uncertainty. Well, let me say this. So my coach said last week. She said the key to empathy is being curious about the places where there's uncertainty. Um, so in other words, what she's suggesting is to take a proactive approach to uncertainty. Um, but most people, like I mean, we are a civilization of like let's nail this down. Let's know where we stand, and we haven't been able to do that with the pandemic, and that's why we're in such upheaval, and this is so difficult for people. One of the reasons why it's so difficult for people to embrace uncertainty. I mean, you've heard all ancient spiritual traditions. Whether it be Buddhist, um, uh, you know, Taoist, or that it's the unknowingness which is actually the root of our being and where the most wisdom lies. I think that's all I'll say about that. I could go on and on. All right, number 7, uh, why another facet of why it's hard being human is so this actually is related to the pandemic also. What's happened, this kind of polarity between sovereignty and being tolerant. The sovereignty. People are, because of their fear of uncertainty, being they're being forced. They feel forced to create a worldview, um, and that's good. It's good to create a conscious worldview. That's a good thing. To just kind of be floating through life. I think it's better to have a worldview. It's better to have a worldview that's based on um, something other than fear. You know, but what's hap what I'm getting to with stewardship here is that there's a lot of polarity that's been set up during the pandemic because fear of uncertainty and forming worldviews. And so you form worldviews and then you polarize with other worldviews. The way out of that is tolerance. But when, this is what I believe. You've heard a lot of, and this is where it kind of lands with this show. Welcome to the Shift Show. The shift, what I understand as being the shift, is the shift from humanity being in a 3-dimension only uh, viewpoint to a 5-dimension viewpoint. Fifth dimension, third dimension. That's the shift from the third to the fifth dimension. And the way we move from the third to the fifth dimension, in my opinion, is we dissolve the polarity, right? So when we can dissolve the polarity in our own lives, so let's just go back to like the individual. When I believe that when I can dissolve the polarity in my own life, then it's like, all right, so everything, everything's an illusion, right? Um, it's life is a dream. Yes, that's one side of the equation. The other, that's saying that we're essentially all one, and that the every all the separateness is an illusion. That is sort of like one side of the coin. The other side is um, that we are just this separation, and which is just another side of the coin. The balanced equation is that we're both, that energy, that we are all this one, universal energy, and it's coagulated into separateness. And that separateness is the polarization. But what I'm getting at here is that when an individual can dissolve the polarization in themselves, then they become available. Um, well, here, let me say it this way. So I am, in a sense, my body is a dream. It's an illusion, right? But when I can, there are other things besides my own body that are, in a sense, even bigger illusions, which is the earth. The earth is, if everything is a dream, the earth is a big illusion. And, um, if you want to go further, if everything is a dream, the sky is a big illusion, right? But they're also, we are, but I am in some sense, and so are you, real, and so is the earth real, and so is the sky real. So when an individual can move through their own polarity, their own polarization, and become neutral, then they become available to earth and sky to be a steward of earth, and to balance, basically to join heaven and earth. Sorry, that was a kind of a long winded explanation of this 7 point. So moving on to point 8, Ouroboros. You may have heard that word before. It's the snake eating its tail. And so the reason, so this, I think the snake eating its tail is sort of a symbol of what it means to be human. It's kind of like what I was just talking about, that, the life is a dream. Um, it's it's real, and yet it's not real, right? And that's what the Ouroboros symbol depicts, is that it's that, and this is the I guess the overriding impetus of being human, which is that we have to. This, I believe, this is my belief. This is, and I'll just say this for myself. I believe that my purpose is to find is to pursue the disillusion of me, and in finding what is beyond me, the absolute, bringing that into this creation. And I think that the Ouroboros, the snake eating its tail, is a symbol of that. Okay, so and then the last point, point 9, um, could have started with that, but we'll end with it. Is wholeness. For I'll just speak for myself again. For me to be whole, I have to I have to confront my shadow. In fact, I have to do more than confront my shadow. I have to actually embrace my shadow. I have to welcome my shadow, because my shadow is all of what is all my wholeness. It's all of what I'm not um, conscious of in terms of my wholeness. And so, I mean, that's a hard thing, for a human being, is to constantly be embracing that which is um, that which is uncomfortable and that which is, irritating and that which is, enraging, and we can go on with that. So, yeah, I'll start my share now. And so this has been Welcome to the Shift Show, and the title has been um, It's Hard Being Human. And what I attempted to do today was to um, give some ideas about why it's hard being human. And I would like to hear your ideas about why it's hard being human, your experiences about why it's hard being human, your feelings about why it's hard being human. And if you could leave those in the comments, that would be wonderful. So, thank you. I'm Christopher McClure, and uh, welcome to the Shift Show.